Hi, my name's Katie from Art of the Heart, and I am committed to seeing hearts aligned with love so that their whole person can blossom. Now, love is actually more challenging than we think because love requires us to be in the now. Love is. It's this moment. And what I find is a lot of times people feel more comfortable loving themselves in the past or loving themselves in the future or just not loving themselves at all. But let's look at these two, the past and the future. Tonight or today, whenever you're watching this video, you will be engaging with the challenge of loving yourself in the now versus loving yourself in the past. And there's this strong sense of nostalgia that comes up for us when we want to avoid loving ourselves now. Maybe we're 15 pounds more than we like or than we were. And so we nostalgically love ourselves as the person who was. But unfortunately, or fortunately, love requires us to be loving, present, accepting, and celebrating the person that is. It will not suffice to love who you were. You must begin to really cultivate a deep love for yourself now. The challenge is loving ourselves now is in the midst of our mess. It's in the midst of things that we may be uncomfortable with. Usually the nostalgia takes us back to a time and place that we idealize. Maybe we don't even love it as much as we idealize it because when we were at that time and place, we might have been struggling with different things. I know for myself, I often idealize high school because there was less responsibilities and there was a sense of real activity-oriented lifestyle with sports and dances and different events that were happening. And I really liked that. I liked that sense of community in the high school. But looking back, I actually had an eating disorder in high school. I had anorexia and I went through some really difficult and dark periods. And so when I got more honest about my high school years, I realized, I've kind of idealized them, but I haven't necessarily seen and loved myself through them. It was only once I graduated and moved on and years later that I looked back. I remember wanting to graduate high school. There was things I knew I would miss, but I wanted to move forward. So looking at that dynamic, I realized that I often do that. I often will have a challenging period in my life and I will look back with idealization as if that person or that situation could be lovable. Now, love is, so it means I need to cultivate love in the now. So if I'm looking back and admiring, idealizing a time, a place, or a way that I was, maybe the way that I looked, maybe the way that I interacted, maybe the things that I experienced, or maybe even business growth or the amount of money I made at a different time and place, then what I'm doing is I'm comparing that with me now. And I'm saying I'm not happy, I'm not willing to celebrate me now because it was just so much better then. And in doing that, I'm costing myself love unconditionally, love with acceptance and presence. I'm costing myself that because I'm idealizing something in the past. These past experiences are valuable. So I do want people to be able to recognize and relate to times and places that made them feel really good, that they really liked. What did I like about high school? And not so much that I loved or idealized that period, but what were the experiences there that I could possibly incorporate now, obviously in a different way, that could bring some more life and meaning. Those situations then can give me insights on what kind of things I want to cultivate and celebrate and experience now. Maybe I'm overlooking them and actually am experiencing them. Maybe if I loved myself more in the present, I would cultivate those experiences for myself more. It would obviously look different and possibly feel somewhat different, but it could really resonate with some of those cravings. Often nostalgia is a sense of craving something from the past and now feel that's unattainable. Most of our experiences may not be repeatable, but they may be able to be renewed or revisited in ways that are creative. So nostalgia can actually be helpful to give us a sense of maybe ways that we can love and nurture ourselves in the present, but it can also be a stalling tactic to loving ourselves in the now. We're displacing and putting our love and attention, really our idealization, on past experiences because it's much easier to love something that we're not in the midst of than to love the messy midst of us now. But that's where the reward is. That's where the breakthrough is. That's where we really get to experience love now.